Hey, what's up, Big Ben? Up at 4 in the fucking morning, I think. Jeez. Yeah, whatever. But logging once again on Delusional, my web vertical web series experiment. That last episode though was landscape, and that shaved a few years off. Man, that was really tough. Probably the toughest thing I've done in AI so far. If you're not kind of like following and paying attention to what I'm doing with this uh, thing, it's a grant experiment, something that I started with the Sora phone app, and just to try to, push that, stress test that, and see what an experienced filmmaker could do with that tool. And, it was just a goof, it was a goof on me, very meta, I mean, it's called Delusional, mind you, about a screenwriter named Ben Ramsey, who is delusional enough to think that he could be uh, a John Wick type action star in an action series. But as the story went on, me with my writer's mind, I kind of pushed it. I'm like, this is actually a pretty cool story. So each episode, I tried to kind of like improve the narrative, the structure, and the storytelling to see, what I can get from it. And that last one was really, really tough because what I did is I didn't write any script, I didn't write any dialogue. I wanted to just improv it off the top of the dome, this conversation between Ben and his future wife Jade meeting in a movie theater, watching one of his movies, and there are only two people in the theater, and she's there basically because she likes the music, and she likes to listen to the music with the visuals. She doesn't care about the writing at all, because later on he asks her, like, what do you think psychologically, as from a psychiatrist's perspective, that the story was trying to say? And she just basically says, I like the writing, and that instantly is a reason why they hit it off. And ultimately, what I wanted to do with that is keep the dialogue really kind of, uneven, choppy, off the, not sound like dialogue, to sound more like two people talking, with all the awkward pauses and everything that you would get in real life conversation, and actually tell the story with facial expressions, micro expressions, things like that, and nonverbal communication. So I think it's kind of close. It's getting there. Um, so it was a pretty interesting experiment. And I think a lot of people that have become fans of the series were like, come on, what is this, lovey-dovey shit? What is all this? Really, I don't care about him. Get to the action, get to the ass kissing, motorcycle chases, explosions, and all of that. No, I get you. I get you. That's what kind of, got people hooked on the series uh, the first time around. So, yeah, I get it. So this one, I got one more kind of dialogue driven scene in episode 12. And that's going to be like a serious. This one, I'm going to like really stress test the hell out of these AI platforms to see what they're capable of in narrative storytelling. And so I'm kind of like, going full on Crimson Tide, Hunt for Red October with this one, because they're in a submarine. And, there's going to be, some dialogue that exposes their characters more. And then I'm going to try to employ more of that, nonverbal communication from the actor. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be playing like you know, like four different roles in this episode, and that's going to be fun because I'm not a trained actor, but yeah, I've worked with enough actors, so I kind of get what I know what I want to get from actors from working with actors. I know, what I need to get from them. So, this time around, I'm, trying to see if I can get that out of myself until eventually I get to the point where, this thing is on autopilot. Then I can start bringing in, like cast, like full cast, start having them do all. But I want to work the bugs out first before I do that and start spending major money outside of subscription fees on these things. Um, so, this next one, it's going to be rough. Um, we're going to do, like a dialogue scene with a lot of exposition dumping. And then maybe in 12 or maybe moving into 13, we're going to go into a full blown submarine attack with torpedoes and flooding cabins and, people trying to escape, you know. So I'm going to also try to, see if I can ratchet up tension with this. So, what's interesting is episode 3 on LinkedIn got a lot of hate. I got a lot of haters on that one. And I see that as a good sign, because it's grabbing people's attention, AI haters, man, I get them, I dig them, I know where they're coming from because, when you're doing something that looks like, holy shit, this guy's taking my job. Yeah, I know what, where that's coming from. And the closer it gets to looking like it can take your job, the more stress that is going to create. So, but trust me, I'm, I come from the same boat. I'm, I'm a filmmaker, storyteller, work from that, make my living in the industry. So, what I'm trying to do is I know where all of this stuff, where AI is going, and what I'm working on is trying to put this tool in the hands of the creatives, of the actors, of the writers, because this is I'm quite sure the companies, the corporations, they're full on, uh, about hey, how can we replace the creatives with this stuff? And of course, my mission is to give creatives the power to say, hey, we don't need you. So all those writers, all those actors, all those people that are out of work, that aren't work, that have great ideas, that have big ideas, far bigger than their budgets, will have a means of fulfilling their visions, their ideas. That's my main goal with this. It's not to replace, but to empower. And then there's going to be some, that just hate AI. If it's AI, I hate it. I don't care what it is and stuff. I get you. But I'm a counter that if those that feel that AI can replace them are probably the ones that are going to get replaced. And you got to look at it from the perspective of like, okay, this tool is coming, it's coming from my job. What can I do? How can I prevent that from happening? How can I keep practicing what I do and what I love using this tool? And that's ultimately to use the tool to replace those that are looking to replace you. Use it to empower yourself. Because like I said, I've been on the other side of it, man. I'm a guerrilla filmmaker. I've been making films out of my pocket since the early '80s. I just it's like you got an idea, gather some friends, get a camera, and start shooting. That was what me and my boy Cance, rest in peace, used to do back in Pittsburgh. And I'm positive that if Cance was still with us today, He would be loving this shit, you know. So anyway, don't get too hung up on the tool. Get hung up on how you can use the tool to work for you. How can you make this thing work for you? That's what's the important part of it. And you know, and also, like I said in my earlier blog, that the idea that they're calling this AI filmmaking is what's really throwing people off and pissing people off. And I still contend that this isn't filmmaking; it's a new form of animation. I don't care how photorealistic it looks; it's animation. So look at it from that perspective and say, would you take a job on an animated series? Would you do voiceover work or motion capture work for an animated series or a video game, something like that? Now look at it from the perspective of that you are the producer of the animated series or the video game or the video game cutscenes. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. I'm still on mission. You know, early morning, vampire hours. I should be sound asleep, but I'm up drinking freaking green tea, instead of coffee. Coffee kills me. And anyway, moving on to my next episode, and I'll be doing more of these, uh, from time to time, just because it seems like people like to see talking heads talking at them and shit, So here I am, another fucking talking head on YouTube. And so, what do they say? Oh, they'll like and subscribe, and wherever the fucking like and subscribe buttons are, push those, and you'll get more of my exploration into AI filmmaking and more ramblings of me just talking a bunch of shit. So anyway, that's it. Back to the grind. Actually, I think probably going to go down to the gym and punch the bag a little bit, and then come back and start on my hunt for Red October, baby. All right. Peace. Been Ramsey.